Well, hello there, welcome to my channel where we learn from the gays part 2. So as an introduction to this video, I wanted to acknowledge some of the comments from part 1. I did delete some of those comments, so it's gonna sound like I'm making stuff up, but I don't care.
Whatever, okay? Shoot me in the eye.
So I've been told that the title of this video sounds like I'm saying that gay men are not real men. And the thing is, I'm using quote marks in the title. I'm saying real men because there's no such thing as real men. There's men and people who don't identify as men, and that's about it. And when I'm saying the gays, I'm not saying only gay men. I'm pretty much referring to the whole LGBTQ plus community. Anyone who had to come out or just struggle to be themselves in society. So don't be so literal, girly. Just read the room, please. So this video is not about hating men or anything like that. It's about talking about my experiences as a gay man and how that helped me be more of myself and how that can be helpful for straight men, because they haven't had to go through getting out of the closet. Trigger warning, I'm gonna be talking about mental health issues and wanting to, exit this world. So if you're not comfortable with that, just go and watch something else. So I'm gonna be calling this part of the video Not All Men. I think when we talk about gender roles, it's very important that we get rid of generalizations, and I think it's full of them all the time in social media. We keep hearing, oh, all men are like this, all women want this. It's just based on social constructs and it doesn't let people be themselves, it just traps them in cages. And by generalizing, we're just leaving people out. We're just saying,
oh, if you don't meet some certain standard, you're not a man. If you're not a provider, you're not a man. If you're not a homemaker, you're not a woman, whatever that is.
We're just leaving people out, and that's gatekeeping. And I'm stating my mantra here, if it gatekeeps, then it's not a keeper. Okay, it's not cute, it's selfish, and it's got to go. So I recently watched this video.
I think that men that are frustrated that women want guys that are providers are feminine. That's it. It doesn't make you more masculine to be like, I shouldn't have to pay for her nails. I shouldn't have to pay for my girl's dinner. That doesn't make you more masculine. That makes you a Are you a man or are you gonna be a I don't know. It's up to you.
So these type of men are the ones that say, when we're talking about men being violent, they're like,
oh, dude, yeah, not all men are violent, not all men are abusers.
Yeah, that's true. It's true. But when I say not all men are providers, not all men like sports, not all men never lose their jobs, then they go, oh, no, that's actually not true. Because if you don't do any of those things, then you're a bitch. And to that I have to say, from the moment that women were allowed to have bank accounts and start working, then the image of the provider ceased to be assigned to anyone in particular. Period. Oh no, but women naturally prefer to do stuff from scratch in the kitchen and, use sourdough. People. Oh no, but men naturally prefer to go out and be in the forest and chuck wood. People in general. I also got this comment saying that this way of thinking only benefits women and the LGBTQ plus community. And I don't know about that. Would you say that something qualifies as benefiting men if it saves them from wanting to stop existing? The leading cause for men wanting to exit the world is actually not seeking help for their mental health. Not speaking up, not showing their emotions, stuff like that. But two of the biggest issues affecting men's mental health is actually work pressures and financial pressures. During financial downturns, the BBC reports that rates of suicide increase, making men more at risk if they lose their job during a recession. So I don't know, saying that men can collaborate with their partners to financially support each other doesn't seem like a bad idea to support men's mental health. And of course, women and the LGBTQ plus community benefit from this, because the second that men's mental health improves, then we're getting closer to a world where we don't have to pick a bear over a man in the woods.
Did you notice how the bear left when everyone said no instead of turning around and calling everyone a fat
And of course there's tons of straight men who are respectful, who are super nice, who are not afraid to be themselves, and that is incredibly healing for me. And as Alok Vaid-Menon says,
when I'm saying that I want a world beyond the gender binary, I'm not saying you don't get to be you.
Yeah.
Actually, you being you is totally fine. There's nothing
and
to
it
do with
has
me.
been for thousands of years.
Yes.
Yeah.
I get to be me.
Yeah.
And in fact, the more you are, the more I can be.
Yeah.
not all women There's a big problem that men usually have with this way of thinking. They just are convinced that women are not into men who are not stereotypically masculine, that they have to compete with other men who are more masculine than them. And I'm not sure if these men are coming from a place of an incel, and in that case, boy bye, don't even bother. But if you're genuinely asking for help, one thing that you can learn from the gays, dude, there's no dating pool for me. There's a dating cup or a dating bucket if you're lucky and you live in a metropolitan city. I can't tell you how many YouTube videos I've watched of grown-ass gay men complaining about them not finding someone who's interested in them because they're not masculine enough, because they're not big enough, because they're a bit femme. But the thing is, the answer is always you just have to keep looking. And I'm pretty sure there's much more straight women out there than gay men. And if we find someone, then you will most definitely find someone for yourself. This is quite cringe to admit, but this last summer I went out to a gay club and I was shaking my ass like there was no tomorrow, and this woman started flirting with me, with my boyfriend next to me. This woman was flirting with me, and you're gonna tell me that there's no woman who is attracted to someone who is not stereotypically masculine? I just think you're looking for the wrong women. You just have to change the way that you're looking for women. There is also bi women, I don't know if you consider that. And there's even a TikTok trend about women with gay boyfriends.
I love when beautiful girls have a little gay boyfriend. They just have a little feminine, vintage Levi's wearing, tote bag carrying, mustached little boyfriend. He's covered in the most random tattoos you've ever seen. One's like a hot dog skateboarding. His coworkers are shocked when he has this beautiful, stunning, amazing girlfriend, and they're like, "Is she your cousin?" And he's like, "No, I make sweet, sweet love to her and I worship her."
I literally have the same cardigan as he has and the same trousers, and all these women in the comments were thirsting over that man, and I do not blame them. I've also seen many comments on Reddit from women saying that they much prefer feminine men over masculine men, so there's also that. The fact that people just want different things means that there's someone for everyone. You might be getting stuck with women that are not looking someone like you. You just need to look for different women who actually do like you. And the same goes the other way around. If you're looking for a woman who is a homemaker and you keep finding these women who are not interested in that, then you just need to start looking for a different type of woman, someone who is interested in different things.
But sweetheart, they're talking to the women that are saying they're not going to cook. Leave them alone.
No, well, they find out she's not going to cook after they speak to them.
Okay, and then you're like, okay, then leave her alone. That's what I'm saying. There's somebody for everybody. The chick that doesn't want to cook, leave her alone.
But how many men, other than chefs, don't want a woman who's nurturing and wants to cook for them and cater to them? How many men don't want this?
I don't know the answer to that. I would imagine that most men do want that.
Right. Well, there are things that women want. Mm-hmm. We know what they are.
And they might not get it. They might get it, they might not. Men can say what they want, they might get it, they might not. It's the same thing. Because when we're talking about black people, let's just be honest here. How many black men do you think can afford to be the primary provider, financial provider, and put their wife and their children in a good neighborhood with good schools? How many do you think on their own salary? How many do you think can do that?
And the answer is, drumroll please, not all men. Also, I found this TikTok that's really good that responds to these men who are saying that they have to constantly compete with other men and be more masculine than other men to get the woman.
And then I saw this other video of a woman who was talking about a date she had where the guy was like, "Oh, well, tell me about all these guys that I'm in competition with." And she was like, "You're not in competition with any other men. You're in competition with me. So you, in order to earn a place in my life, you're competing with me. You're competing with my own peace and everything that I bring to my own life. Like, you have to add to my life in order to earn a place in it." And he just looked at her like...
And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm finding it really interesting how dating within the LGBTQ plus community is getting more and more similar to dating within the straight world, in the sense that it doesn't matter if we have different genders or not. It doesn't matter what gender you are. We're all starting to get the same rights and opportunities. I mean, we're getting there, right? So it's just about two people figuring out what each other wants of the other. It's just to that particular person. It's not if they're a man or a woman or whatever. The privilege and curse of blending in. You know, if a man would just say, you know, I'm okay with being masculine, I just like it, I enjoy it like that, I don't care what other men do, I'm okay being super masculine, then I'd be like, okay, cool, that's fine, awesome. But when they start hating on other men because, you know, they're dancing like a ballerina with their daughters, or they're doing embroidery, or they paint their nails, then that's a bit suspicious. I'm like, what's going on there, buddy? You seem a bit defensive. Like, you're shaking a little bit. What's going on? Are you feeling a bit intimidated by men doing what they want and actually not caring what you think? Because it takes much more courage to be yourself and challenge society than to be just a keyboard troll. This type of hate is most definitely rooted in fear to be judged. And I think me being so stereotypically gay when I was a kid and through high school, it pretty much made me go through hell. You know, I hated sports. My parents were forcing me to do sports all the time. I did all of the sports. I'm not actually sure if that's because my parents wanted me to, you know, straighten up. Not sure. And I remember crying to my parents because I didn't want to go to this sailing class because I hated sailing classes. That river was wild, you guys. It was so scary. And I probably shouldn't have been that scared because of course I was really good at swimming because I did take swimming classes. And I remember I was even bullied while sailing. Like a couple of boats grabbed some ropes from my boat. They pulled and started spinning, so then my boat started spinning and they weren't saying a word. I was like, what are you doing? What's going on? So yeah, I was bullied on water. I am all terrain. And I was a theater kid. I loved dancing, singing, acting. I had the highest pitched voice ever. Like, look at the way that I was playing with my trucks when I was a kid. Passing was never an option for me. The closet was crystal clear, but still I had to crack open that invisible door. I think if I would have had the opportunity to pass as a straight man, I would have held onto it as hard as possible. I would have behaved like any other straight man, but I would have been living this safe but fake life. And I think this privilege that straight men have to blend with each other prevents them from actually be themselves, be honest with yourself and everyone else around you. You see, I couldn't hide, I couldn't blend with a straight man, so I was forced to come out and be myself. And I love this TikTok or reel I found about this woman basically explaining where fragile masculinity comes from. Explains and summarizes very well what I just talked about, I think.
Could somebody please explain to me why dudes my age are just painting their nails?
The arc of this video follows every interview I had with men when it came to writing a book about masculinity. The beginning of it sounds like bigoted and like sexist, like putting down anything that's feminine. And then you get to the core of why, which is that the smallest transgression of traditional masculinity leads to huge, enormous acts of rejection from other men, often from the men that they care the most about, i.e. their dad.
If I came home with my nails painted though, I think my dad would be like, oh, what are you doing here? And he's like, oh no, you don't live here anymore. If you're painting your nails, you don't have a home here.
If something as important as the relationship with your parent hinges on something as small as painting your nails, that is not a secure relationship. So ideals of masculinity end up creating for men and boys relationships that lack psychological safety, which prevents them from expressing themselves, expressing their emotions. Behind every man who is afraid to be perceived as being feminine is a boy that wants to prove to his dad that he's a man.
You know, straight men have to come out. If they want to paint their nails, they have to face society and challenge it. And that's what I'm encouraging men to do. Because that's healing and it helps you be yourself. This is the longest video I've done, so thank you so much if you're still watching. Please let me know in the comments what you think about what I've said. And please leave it a like and subscribe as always. I'll leave here part 1 of this video if you want to go and watch it. And I'll see you next time.